All right, so in this lesson, even though I spelled this wrong, this should say probability. That should be the I, and that should be the T. So we're going to determine the probability of compound events using of a compound event using a tree diagram. Now, last time we did this by, I'll show you the old way or the former way, and I'll show you this way. This way is actually what I learned originally when we learned it. I learned it growing up in like fifth grade. But now they push it all till later. I'm not sure why. So we're going to flip this coin twice. The only reason I have it in black and white is because this coin looks kind of cool when I did that. It didn't look that cool before. So I'll show you how we did it last time. So it could be a heads or a tails when we flip it. I'm going to put a little bit more space in there. Heads or tails. The first time, and then you can get a heads or a tails the second time. If you get heads, you can get another heads. So you can get a heads and then heads. Or you can get tails and then heads. Or you can get heads and then tails. Or you can get tails and then tails. I know I didn't really show, like last time I showed you the first one. So this is the first and this is the second. If not, then these would be backwards right here. So first time it was a heads, heads. First time it was tails, tails is first. First time it was heads, heads was first. First time it was tails, tails was first. Okay? Now that's the way we did do it. You always have to keep an eye on which one's first and which one's second. This way is kind of cool. I don't mind it that much. I kind of get mixed up when I want to do this one first and this one second, which it'll give you the same answers. It'll just be in a different order. Another way that they do it, though, is like using a tree diagram. And so I like to put, you can get a heads or a tails. Now, let's say you flip a heads, right? Well, the second time you flip it, you can get a heads or a tails. If you had gotten a tails, when you flip it, you could have gotten a heads or a tails. This way doesn't look as nice, I think, in some ways, but it does show it different. Like, the way it shows it is kind of cool. So you can get a heads, heads, or you can get a heads and then a tails, or you can get a tails and then a heads, or a tails and then a tails. So you kind of got to follow it a little bit. So what's the probability of flipping a head 2 times in a row? So heads 2 times in a row. Heads, heads. This is a heads and a heads. There's only one out of 1, 2, 3, 4 possibilities. So 1 out of 4 possibilities. So I'm actually going to get rid of that. So that one right there, heads, heads, out of 4 possibilities, which is 25%. All right, what's the probability of flipping a tails 2 times in a row? Well, we got to go to tails the first time, and then tails again. So it's this one time again, because remember, it's this one time here. But there's 4 possibilities: heads, 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 tails, tails, heads, heads, tails. So that's only 1 out of 4. And for our purposes, I'm just going to do this, so I'm not keeping you forever. All right, let's see what's the probability of getting 1 heads and 1 tails in any order. So a heads and a heads wouldn't count. We need a heads and a tails in any order. Heads and a tails right here in any order. And a heads and a tails right here. Remember that this is out of 1, 2, 3, 4 possibilities. So 2 out of 4. 2 out of 4 is where you would get a heads and a tails in any order, which is 1/2, always reduce, which is 5/10, which is 50%. All right, lastly, tails the first time, heads the second time. So tails the first time, right here. Heads the second time. Heads the second time. Only 1 out of these 4. which once again is 25 hundredths, which is 25%. All right, now let's check this out. First, we're going to spin and then we're going to roll. So let's use the tree diagram. So this time you'll have to use the tree diagram, okay? Make sure you show it like on your work in the PDF file. So you're going to spin and then you're going to roll. We could spin. Oh, our colors are going to be backwards because I inverted the colors. So what I'll do, the work is fine. The notes are going to be a little weird. I'm going to call this one yellow. That one's blue. I guess this one's going to be red. This is blue. Okay, let's do what we can. Okay, so we have yellow on the first, red, and then blue. It'll work because we won't have to look at that anymore. Just yellow, red, blue. Okay? After you spin it, and then you get to roll, right? So after you get a yellow, you could get a 1, 2, a 3, a 4. Well, I'm going to space these out a little bit more. You can get a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6. You get all of those. These are 6 combinations. You get yellow 1, yellow 2, yellow 3, yellow 4, yellow 5, yellow 6. Or you could have spun a red and gotten a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or 6. So you either could get red 1, red 2, red 3, red 4, red 5, or red 6. And then we could have spun a blue and gotten 1, and then rolled a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6. So we could have a blue 1, blue 2, blue 3, blue 4, blue 5, or blue 6. All right. So we have 6 combinations here, 6 combinations here, 6 combinations here. There are a total of 18 combinations. Well, we'll say, yeah, let's do that. 18 combinations. Or we could say pairs of events, right? So what's the probability you would get a yellow and a 2? Yellow 2. There's only one yellow 2. One yellow 2 out of all 18. And actually, let me do that one in my calculator because I don't know 1/18 off the top of my head. 1 over 18 is 0.05 repeating, which is, move it twice, so 5.55 repeating percent. Not too bad. I just need to leave more room next time. All right, what's the probability of spinning a red and rolling a 2 or a 5? So I want a red, so I can only be over here, and a 2 or a 5. So I could either get red 2 or red 5. That's 2 out of 18, which reduces to 1/9. Let's do 1/9, which is 0.11 repeating, which is 11.11 repeating percent. All right, so that's the probability of a red or a blue, and then roll a number bigger than 2. So red or blue, red or blue. So, and then roll, this one I'm probably gonna have to write a little bit, and roll a number bigger than 2. So I can get red 3, red 4, red 5, red 6, or I can get blue 3, blue 4, blue 5, blue 6. So that's 8 out of 18 possibilities, I guess. So I'm going to reduce that to a 4 out of 9, which is 4.44 repeating, which is 44.44 repeating percent. Okay, all right. Next, it's a yellow or a blue and an odd number. So a yellow or a blue, no reds, and an odd number. Remember, odd are like 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay. So I'm going to circle it this time. Yellow 1, yellow 3, yellow 5. Or blue 1, blue 3, blue 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 18 combinations. Which is 3 out of 9, which is 1/3, which is 0.33 repeating, which is 33.33 repeating %. And that is it. Thank you.